We're joined by former Assistant U.S. Attorney and Fox News contributor Andy McCarthy. Andy, thank you so much for not taking a well-deserved day off. We really need your expertise today. So let's put up you bet. Let's put up a timeline here so we can take a look at what the former president's summer is going to be looking like. Okay, so June 13th, we have the sentencing motions filing deadline. July 11th, the sentencing hearing, and then the appeal filing deadline in August. You have the debate in June. You have the RNC in July. How do you see the appeals, the crux of the appeal playing out? What do you think the strongest argument is here?
Well, Alicia, I don't think the appeal is going to play out on that time frame. I mean, he'll file a notice of appeal, but that's a lengthy process. I don't even think it would surprise me if they even filed briefs prior to the election. But I do think a ball that we have to keep our eye on is as early as next Thursday, we may get a decision from the Supreme Court on the immunity. And my belief, because I think these things are dynamic, I don't think anything stays static. I don't think we should just assume none of these federal cases is going to get to trial. I think that this conviction of former President Trump is going to inspire Jack Smith, the special counsel, and Judge Tanya Chutkan, who's been very favorable to him, to try to push that case to trial. So depending on what the Supreme Court does and how much of his case is left, I think we could see that in the mix as well. I don't think we'll have arguments over the appeal of the New York case, but I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for Judge Chutkan to throw the case out on the post-trial motions.
Oh, okay. So the New York Times has a piece on the complexity of the case itself and also the judge's instructions. And here's a quote from the piece. Quote, "The legal theory underpinning the prosecution included not only untested law, but a complex combination of statutes, one tucked inside another like a Russian nesting doll." And that actually goes to, in this piece, is what the judge's instructions were and how that could be a part of an appeal.
Yeah, I was really struck watching all this at how right former Attorney General Bill Barr was when he said, if you're going to prosecute a former president, and particularly a former president who was the de facto Republican nominee for the presidency in this cycle, it ought to be a meat and potatoes crime. In other words, it ought to be a very serious offense that's supported by very strong evidence and that everyone can look at and see and say, anybody would be prosecuted for this. What happened here was the opposite of that. They took two misdemeanors. They basically had a misdemeanor business records falsification offense that should have been time barred as of 2019. They tucked it together with another misdemeanor, this New York election law misdemeanor conspiracy, which also had a 2-year statute of limitations and should have lapsed in 2019. And they mushed them together and decided that that was a felony. And then they made it 34 felonies and said they had a 6-year statute of limitations. So it's about the most bizarro thing I've ever seen. And they were cagey about what the other crime was. That, right. That was the object of the conspiracy, the misdemeanor conspiracy.
And we're going to end up with a whole new cast of characters here. What do you know about Stephen Wu, Alvin Bragg's head of appeals?
Not much. I follow New York law, but I don't know much about his work. But, look, that appeal is going to take a while to play out. And Judge Merchan has tried, in his jury instructions in particular, to plant things that the state will be able to use, even though I think if you take the jury instructions as a whole, they read like a roadmap to conviction. And what I was really stunned about is the main crime that he was trying to prove was a federal campaign finance crime. That has a willfulness mental element, the thing that you have to prove, the criminal intent element that you have to prove. That's the highest element in the criminal law. The judge didn't instruct the jury on that mental element, even though that was really the crux of the case. What did Trump know?
And one final thought from you on this. Democratic Congressman Dean Phillips, who primaried President Biden, obviously failed, he tweeted that New York Governor Kathy Hochul, for the good of the country, should pardon Trump. adding, you think pardoning is stupid, making him a martyr over a payment to a porn star is stupid. Election charges are entirely different. It's energizing his base, generating record sums of campaign cash, and will likely result in an electoral boost. What about this idea of a pardon?
Well, look, I think I've said that I thought President Biden should pardon Trump, at least on the classified documents elements of the Florida case. And I think, you know, if we were living in a fair, rational world, this case wouldn't have happened in the first place, but Hochul would issue a pardon. The thing is, these guys are prisoners to the progressive base of their party, and there would be mutiny if Trump was pardoned. So even if it's good politics and it might actually help Biden in the election in November, I wouldn't hold my breath again waiting for that to happen.
Well, you're right. The world has definitely changed. Andy McCarthy, thank you so much. Really good to see you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.